The credit card declined for the third time, as Emma Byrne stood at the checkout counter of a small grocery store on the outskirts of Belfast, her 5-year-old daughter Lily tugging at her sleeve, her soft voice barely above a whisper. "Mum, is it broken?" she asked, eyes wide with innocent confusion. The cashier sighed, impatience creeping into his tone as the line of Saturday shoppers grew behind them. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and the air carried that heavy silence that falls when a moment turns from ordinary to unbearable. Emma's cheeks flushed red as she fumbled through her worn purse, searching for another card that she already knew wouldn't work. "It's okay, sweetheart," she said softly, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "It's just being stubborn today." What Emma didn't realize was that a man a few places behind her in line was watching quietly, not out of pity, but with growing recognition. His eyes softened as the pieces clicked into place. That man was Jamie Dornan. He had stopped at that little grocery store on a whim after visiting his childhood home just a few miles away. It was supposed to be a quick errand before heading back to London. Milk, bread, a few things for the flight. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. Jamie had been scrolling absently through his phone when the sound of the cashier's frustrated sigh made him look up. What he saw stopped him cold. The young woman's face looked familiar, though older now, tired in the way that comes from years of doing too much with too little. And then he noticed the child beside her, clutching a small toy, looking up with quiet trust. The scene was painfully human, a woman trying to keep her dignity while the world seemed to look away. The card reader beeped again, a sharp, cruel sound that made Emma's stomach drop. "I'm sorry," the cashier said flatly. "It's not going through." Emma nodded quickly, forcing composure that was crumbling by the second. "That's fine, just take off the fruit and the cheese. I can manage without." Jamie felt his throat tighten. Each item she removed was another quiet surrender, another reminder of how close the line is between just getting by and not getting through. And then, as the cashier went to void the items, Jamie stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said softly, his voice warm but steady. "I'll take care of that." The entire checkout lane froze. Emma turned, her eyes wide, confusion and pride battling across her face. "I'm sorry," she stammered. Jamie smiled gently. "I'd like to pay for your groceries," he said. "All of them," the cashier blinked. "All of them?" "All of them," Jamie repeated, nodding. "And the things she put back too." Emma's hands trembled. "No, you don't have to," but Jamie interrupted with quiet kindness. "Please, let me." The little girl looked up at him, curiosity in her eyes. "Are you an angel?" she asked, her voice soft but clear enough that everyone nearby heard. Jamie laughed gently and knelt so he was eye level with her. "No, love," he said. "I'm just someone who wants to help your mum." "She's doing a really good job," Lily smiled, gripping her mother's coat. "She's the best," she said proudly. "She works hard. We just don't have much money sometimes." Jamie felt something inside him crack open, a flood of empathy and sorrow. "I can see that," he said quietly. As the cashier scanned the rest of the groceries, Emma stood frozen, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You don't even know me," she whispered. Jamie shook his head. "Maybe not, but I can see enough to know you deserve a bit of kindness." When they left the store together, the evening sky was pale grey, the kind of Belfast twilight that seems to hold both rain and hope. Jamie carried the grocery bags to her old hatchback. They spoke softly, awkward at first, then gently as Emma explained her story. She had been working 2 jobs since her husband passed away 4 years earlier. Cleaning offices at night, working as a part-time carer for the elderly during the day. It was never enough, not with rent climbing and Lily needing asthma medication. "I'm not asking for charity," she said, her voice trembling. "I just ran out of luck this week." Jamie looked at her, his expression serious but kind. "Emma, I grew up here. I know what it's like when life doesn't give you the breaks you deserve. You're doing everything right, and still struggling. That's not on you." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I'd like to help you, not just today, but properly." Emma frowned. "I can't let you do that. You don't even know me." Jamie smiled faintly. "Maybe not yet, but I'd like to." They sat on a bench outside the store as Lily played with her new toy, the one Emma hadn't been able to afford before. For the first time that day, Emma allowed herself to breathe. Over coffee the next morning, Jamie listened as she shared more, about leaving nursing school when she got pregnant, about losing her husband, about the endless cycle of bills that always arrived before her paycheck. "I wanted to finish my degree someday," she said softly. "But at this point, I'm just trying to keep the lights on." Jamie nodded. "What if I told you that you could still finish it?" She blinked. "That's not possible." "It is," he said. "I want to help you get there. Not just a handout, a fresh start." Emma shook her head, stunned. "Jamie, I can't accept that." "You don't owe me anything." Jamie smiled gently. "You're right. I don't. But sometimes life gives you a chance to make things right. Not because you have to, but because you can." Over the next few months, Jamie kept his promise. Quietly, without publicity, he arranged for Emma to re-enroll in nursing school. He covered her tuition, childcare, and living expenses while she studied. He told no one, not even the press. The only people who knew were Emma, Lily, and a small group of close friends who helped him manage the details. "You're not just changing my life," Emma said one night on the phone. "You're changing my daughter's too." Jamie smiled. "That's the point." A year later, Emma graduated top of her class. She had done it, not because someone rescued her, but because someone believed she could. The story might have stayed private, but one day, Lily shared it at school during a class project about heroes. She told her classmates, "My mum's hero isn't famous for movies. He's famous because he helped my mum become a nurse." The teacher recorded it, posted it online, and within days it went viral. Millions watched the clip of a little girl proudly talking about kindness and second chances. But what touched people most wasn't Jamie's fame. It was his humility. He hadn't done it for recognition. He'd done it because it was right. When the story broke, reporters flooded him with calls. He said only one thing: "It's not about me. It's about what happens when we remember to see people, really see them." In the months that followed, Jamie used the attention for good. He founded the Second Chance Fund, a scholarship program for single parents pursuing careers in healthcare and education across Northern Ireland. The first graduate? Emma Byrne. She went on to become a nurse at Belfast City Hospital, and later, the director of the program that had given her a second chance. 2 years after that day in the grocery store, Emma stood on a stage at her graduation ceremony. Jamie seated quietly in the crowd beside Lily. When it was her turn to speak, her voice shook but didn't falter. "2 years ago, I was the woman whose card declined at the till," she said, pausing as tears filled her eyes. "I was trying to feed my daughter with £15 to my name. Today I'm a nurse, because someone decided to see me as more than my struggle." She turned toward Jamie. "You didn't just give me help. You gave me hope. You saw potential when I couldn't see it myself." The audience rose to their feet. Jamie looked down, humbled, his eyes glistening. After the ceremony, Lily ran into his arms. "You were right," she said with a grin. "You really are an angel." He laughed softly. "No, love. Your mum's the angel. I just helped her spread her wings." That evening, the three of them sat outside the hospital, watching the sun dip behind the Belfast skyline. Emma looked at him and said, "You know, when I met you that day, I thought it was just luck. But now I think it was something more." Jamie smiled. "Sometimes the universe just gives you the chance to do something that matters." And that's exactly what he had done. Years later, the Second Chance Fund had helped hundreds of families across Ireland. But for Jamie, its success wasn't measured in numbers or headlines. It was in moments, like watching Emma smile at her daughter, free from worry for the first time in years. Sometimes the greatest acts of kindness don't happen on red carpets or movie sets. They happen in the quiet corners of everyday life, in grocery stores, at checkout counters, in moments when someone chooses to see not the struggle, but the person behind it. Because real kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about humanity. It's about believing that everyone, no matter how far they've fallen, deserves the chance to rise again. And on that ordinary afternoon in Belfast, Jamie Dornan proved that sometimes the most powerful stories aren't written in scripts. They're written in hearts,